All right, and welcome back to the Royal Vision podcast. As always, I'm your host, Alex Taylor, and today we have an absolutely amazing athlete from our women's swimming and diving team. She's originally from Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and attended Wyoming Seminary High School, and already breaking amazing records. She's a three-time Landmark Conference Athlete of the Week for swimming and diving this season, and she's broken our program record in the 500 freestyle with a time of 5:15:57, which our previous record had stood since 2002. Her name is Aviah Dahlgren. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's a little bit colder today than it has been the rest of the week. So I got out the sweater, but it's definitely worth the vibe. But yeah, I mean, just tell me a little bit more about yourself.
I'm Aviah. I started swimming when I was like 9 years old and never really stopped since. I grew up in Honesdale. I like to travel. I like to go to the beach and swim, hang out with friends.
Now, how did I'm actually from kind of a close town nearby, swimming in Honesdale. I mean, where'd you even find the time? Maybe at the Y? Where'd you go to swim?
Well, I actually first started swimming here in Scranton's pool with the club team BDA. And then at like around 11, I started swimming with PFY, which is in like the Poconos. So I drove about like an hour every day to my club team. And then Honesdale doesn't have a swim team. So in high school, I went to Wyoming Seminary, and that's also about an hour from Honesdale. And I swam there for high school.
How important were those club teams to finding your passion in the sport?
They definitely had like a really big part in the passion for the sport. Like I made some of my best friends. They're still my best friends today. And I think that the club team that I was on, at least, really, everybody really cared for each other. And I think that's one of the really big parts of swimming, having a team that like stands by your side all the time. And same with my high school team. Like everybody always got along, we went to states together every year.
Now, swimming is definitely becoming a lot more popular in the eyes of the public. I mean, even competitively, it's becoming like just bigger, right? And I feel like that must be exciting to have like a passion in a sport you just love so much, and then seeing more and more outreach. And especially, I've been to a few of the swim meets too, and I see the people in the stands. They are ecstatic about it when there are some real fans about it. So just maybe some more insight about how the fans play a part in the sport as a whole.
I think the fans definitely play a big part in the sport as a whole, so my freshman and sophomore year of high school, we always had fans, and your friends and your family would come support. But then my junior year and my senior year, my junior year we had fans for half of the season, and then states got canceled because of COVID. And then my senior year, we got to have districts, which was obviously more important than being able to have fans. But it definitely just creates a different environment when you have people supporting you versus when you don't. And in high school, my senior year, we went to states, and not having fans in the stands at states just really created such a different environment. And you really have to keep yourself positive and yourself motivated to be there, because you don't have, fans cheering you on and your parents and your friends supporting you in the stands.
I know a lot of our athletes have the same sentiments too. I mean, the fan base really just elevates the level of, honestly, athleticism and just encouragement in the sport, and which you definitely hold a lot of pride with. Like I said in the intro, three-time Landmark Conference Athlete of the Week, and that's above the entire district, I believe, correct?
I think it's through the conference, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And, what would you say is just your most valuable skill when competing?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I guess, honestly, your teammates just supporting you and being there for you is the biggest part of it. Everybody gets nervous. I get nervous before I swim, but I think just remembering why you swim is the biggest part of it. Remembering why you chose to swim or do the sport that you do is really important, because if you're doing it because you love it, there's a big difference between just doing it just to do it.
And do you think you have a really good balance between the love and the competition? Generally, a lot of athletes that I've talked to, they kind of have a hard time struggling with, the love and the competition, because sometimes the competition can, just overcome the rest of it and really just get in your head. So how do you think you balance that?
It's definitely really hard to remember why you chose to do this and why you're actually here, rather than just being super nervous about it. But I think, again, the biggest part is your team. If you don't have your team standing behind you, then it's really hard to stay focused, and like everybody gets nervous, but having your team there for you just makes it so much better. And I think especially here at Scranton, like everybody really supports each other and everybody cares for each other and they're always there for you.
Yeah, I was actually going to go right into that. It's perfect. I was going to really ask you, so you transferred here from Rider University.
Yeah.
You also swam at Rider University too.
Yeah.
What's it like being a Royal compared to being a Bronco?
I mean, it's definitely different. Like, they're different divisions, and that part of it's a little bit different. But I think that they're also similar. Swimming is a sport that you obviously have to be, like, committed to, like, no matter what division you're at. So I think that the commitment level is, like, about the same, you know. You have, like, a few more practices. Division I, like, we swam doubles every day, but we definitely practice, like, close to just as much here. And I liked my team at Rider, too. I wanted to be closer to home. But I also really love being here, and like from the second like I got here, like coming in as a junior is definitely hard, but from the second I was here, the team made me feel like welcomed and like that they wanted me here and they wanted me to be a part of the team, which was definitely super important and made the transition a lot easier.
What do you think is the biggest difference between transferring from a D1 athlete perspective to a D3 athlete perspective?
Honestly, it's not as big of like a difference as you would think. There's definitely like some small differences, like out-of-season training is a little bit different. Like here, Division III doesn't really allow you to have much out-of-season training, where like Division I, it's kind of a little bit more required. Division III also allows like a little bit more flexibility, like being able to like see your family or like your friends, where like Division I was more like you definitely had to be there and there wasn't like a lot of wiggle room, and you have to be here at Division III too, but they allow like a little bit more wiggle room.
Yeah, and I think I see that with a lot of other athletes talking to them too is, being D3 comes with a lot of pride because you get to have a lot more involvement in the community that you're actually part of, that you're actually competing for. Would you say that, share similar sentiments?
Yeah, I think so.
Now we're actually getting into kind of the meat of your competition, your best events. So that's the 500 freestyle and the 200 backstroke. So could you just explain for maybe people that aren't as involved in swimming as you are, what these two events entail?
The 500 free is more like of a distance event, like mid-distance, like distance. It's not quite as long as the mile or anything, but it's definitely not something that you could just like go out and like sprint from the beginning, because it probably won't end so well for you. And the 200 back is a mid-distance event. I really like swimming both of them. The 500 free is definitely my favorite. But
is there any reason why the 500 is your favorite compared to 200?
I've kind of always swam like more distance events ever since I was like younger, so I just kind of like grew up doing it.
Kind of in the intro, I mentioned that you broke our program record for the 500 with a time of 5:15:57. Our previous record, it stands strong for about 12 years. I just got to ask, how does it feel to be already part of our community and your team's legacy?
It definitely feels pretty amazing. It was super exciting breaking the record. I actually didn't know what the record time was when I was swimming it, but I just remember like the first thing my like teammates said to me, like even ones that swam in the event with me, was like congrats, and like everybody just like stood behind you and they were like super supportive. Like no matter how they did, it didn't matter. Like everybody just supports you so much.
And would you say that your team has probably one of the biggest impacts on your overall performance?
Yeah, definitely.
What is it about the team here that you can't find anywhere else?
I just think that everybody truly like wants to be a part of the team and they want to be here, and everybody puts like their all in at practice every day, and everybody has off days, and like everybody's just there to support you, like no matter how you're doing in practice or in a meet, like everybody always just brings you up, and like your whole team like stands there with you. Like it's really hard to swim like without a team that supports you, because like you start to like lose like your love for the sport. But I think that here everybody truly like cares for each other and cares about the sport and wants to succeed together.
That's amazing, and I think every athlete here also shares that same sentiment. I mean, team means everything, and it's really nice to see at this level that it's just so much more, I think, community instead of individual based, and you can't find it anywhere else. I was wondering if you look up to any specific athletes.
Like on the team, or?
It could be, let's start there, on the team.
I mean, yeah, definitely, for sure. Like the seniors are, they just like, again, like everybody supports you, everybody stands by you. Like Jacqueline and Marina, they're two seniors on the team, and they really they're always there for me. Like they're always super supportive, and they've also had amazing seasons. I think everybody has had a really amazing season on the team so far.
Now, you're a junior, right? And you just mentioned two seniors.
Yeah.
So you're going to be stepping into that senior role pretty soon here. What would you say to someone who maybe just joined the team, right? And you're now in this position that you get to maybe be a mentor figure. What do you think would be maybe some of the first things that you would say to this new person?
I mean, I've only been on the team for like 6 months because I just transferred here, and I just like know that it meant a lot, that everybody like truly, you could tell everybody truly wanted you to be there and they were excited for you to be a part of the team. So I think just like the same thing that the seniors and even the sophomores and the freshmen, like everybody just wants you to be here, and I think that enjoying going to practice and being with your friends every day is like super important.
So being only on the team for around 6 months, I mean, you may consider yourself a relatively new Royal, but I mean, every Royal here, we're all part of the same community. What does being a Royal mean to you specifically?
I just think that it shows how much you really care about, your sports, your academics. Like it allows you to be able to have like a life outside of just your sport too. And I think that our teammates spend a lot of time together even outside of practice, which also says a lot about the team that you're on.
You're a member of an 800 free relay team that swam a 7:58:54 at the Gettysburg Invitational on December 2nd, right? And that was actually a mark for the second fastest time in program history. I'd love to know more. Basically, like, what was your day like for the Gettysburg Invitational?
So the Gettysburg Invitational, we got there on a Friday, and Friday night there was a few events that we swam. I swam in the 500 that night, and then we come back on Saturday morning and we swim your events in the morning, and then you swim different events at night, so it's not like prelims finals, but we still have 2 sessions. The 800 free relay was the night session on Saturday. Wait, no, actually the 800 free relay was in the morning. So I'd swam the 400 IM, and my other teammates had swam either the 2 free or the 400 IM. And then the relay was at the end of the session, which, sometimes at the end of a session, like, it's hard to, stay motivated because everybody's tired, you're starting to be sore, but I think everybody really just wanted to be there, and we were excited to be there, which made it even more special, and we were excited to race, and especially in a relay, I think relays are really fun because, you're not just racing alone, you're racing with 3 other members on your team, which makes it special.
What is maybe another conference or maybe just a meet with your team that really sticks out in your mind as like a memory that you're going to hold on to?
I think that our Catholic meet was super. I was home and everybody really was just like excited to race, and obviously like the goal of a dual meet is to win, but win or lose, we all like stood by each other's side, we supported each other up until like the very last end of the meet, and like those meets could be long. Like some of our dual meets this season, like at Drew, it was probably like 6 to 7 hours, and we were in tech suits for that meet. And tech suits are like really tight and they're like hard to get on, and they're not always the most comfortable thing to wear. But everybody just was super happy to be there and excited to race. And at Catholic, I think the energy was just like really high, and everybody was excited to be there.
What do you think is probably the hardest part about being a student athlete?
It's definitely hard to balance like your like social life, your sport, and all of your academics. But I think that everybody on our team does like a really good job of that, especially because we're together like outside of the pool too. And if you're struggling in a class or something, like people on your team are always willing to help you. Like it's a pretty big team, so chances are like somebody's taken that class with the same teacher or with a different teacher. So that's always nice.
Having a team that big, a very wide variety of majors here on campus. Just wondering, what major are you?
I'm a psychology major.
Okay, and is that what your program is? At 4-year?
Yeah, it's 4 years.
Okay, and were you the same program from Rider coming in?
Yeah. So I had a minor in psychology at Rider, but I was also a business major. So when I came here, I just switched to like psychology and no business. Coming
up now, you guys are competing relatively soon. Just wondering, what is kind of the process when you're like ramping up for an upcoming like championship or an upcoming conference like this, for like maybe we can start at the individual level and then maybe like a team sense. So like how are you feeling coming up to this?
I'm definitely super excited to compete at conferences. It's my first conference here at Scranton, which is also exciting within itself. But I think that it's like coming towards like we start to taper, so we start to come down in yards and like come down in like intensity a little bit. So like it's definitely like something that like you're nervous for, but at the same time like my excitement outweighs my nerves.
Something else that I was actually thinking of, sometimes the top pool deck is open to anybody who wants to walk by, right? And when you're walking by, you can sometimes see the team training. How often do you train a week?
So we train at least 6 days a week, and then over like intersession in January, we go on a training trip to Florida, and in Florida we train twice a day, every day. So like we're close to like 10,000 yards a day. But through the rest of the season, it's usually about like one practice a day.
Now, is all that training in the pool, or do you also have like maybe some weight training on top of that?
So yeah, all of our training is in the pool, but then we also do have weight training. Towards the beginning of the season, we were lifting about like twice a week. Some people lifted 3 times a week. It's just like individualized, so it depends on like who you are. But some people are still lifting, and some people aren't lifting now towards the end of the season.
Okay, yeah. And do you need a more specific diet to kind of fuel your swimming in the pool?
We don't have like a specific diet or anything that we have to follow. No, I think like eating well definitely like enhances your performance, I'm sure,
Right.
but there's nothing specific.
And I was just wondering, maybe who are your personal sources of inspiration? Maybe someone specific, or maybe it could be your entire team. Like, who do you say that you would think about while you're competing, maybe before or after?
Honestly, I would just say like my entire team. Like swimming is like a very individualized sport, but I think at the college level it's special because it makes it more of a team thing than anything. Not even just like to win, but just like you want to do well for your team, and like you also want you want to see your teammates do well too.
And winning an overall meet by the team, it's point based, correct?
Yeah.
Could you maybe delve into how points are given to an individual team?
Yeah, so I think relays are worth more than individual events. So winning a relay outweighs like winning an individual event.
Okay.
But then it's also scored, I think, top 5 score, and then so I think 5th place is like 1 point, and then 4th is 2, 3rd is 3, like that way.
And it's very an interesting sport because, like you said, it's very individual. But like you've mentioned time and time before, I mean, your team is everything.
Yeah.
Right. I was wondering if you really just had, a story that shaped your career up to now, because, I mean, I don't see you stopping breaking any records anytime soon. You're a fantastic athlete. I was wondering if you have maybe a story or maybe something that happened in your career that really elevated you and just carried you throughout your career.
Honestly, I don't know if there's like one specific like moment that like shapes like my entire like career of swimming, but I just think like throughout like the whole thing, like being a part of teams and having coaches that like always stood by your side. Like coaches are also like a very important part of the sport, because like your coaches like are there for you, and they're like telling you what you did wrong and telling you what you did well and like what could be improved, and like they never give up on you. So I think that I've always had coaches like from high school to club to college that have always like stood by your side as well as the team. And I just think like your passion, like your love for the sport, like is something that you don't want to let like slip away from you, because that's like one of the most important parts of the sport. Like if you start to forget like why you love to swim or do the sport that you're doing, it's really hard to stay motivated and compete when you lost like your love for that. So I think overall, just like the teammates that I've had and the coaches that I've had through the last like 12 years.
When exactly can everyone listening go and see your meets? Because I know the schedules do get sometimes, but is it usually like weekly or like every few weeks?
So our dual meets are usually on Saturdays. We had like I think like 4 or 5 home meets this season, and then they're usually around like 1 o'clock on Saturday. We had a Friday night one that I think started at like 5, and then the away ones usually started about like the same time, around 1. And our conference meet is coming up. It's the 15th through the 18th, which is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have prelims and finals, so it's in Loyola, Maryland this year.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So do you all like get on a bus and travel together?
Yeah, we all travel together on a bus.
Okay, nice. So if you were able to kind of speak to a large group of our students here and asked them to come out and see you guys, what do you think you would say to them to get them to come to just watch you guys?
I think like any sport, you're having fans and friends there to support you, and even if like you're not friends with them, like just seeing people in the stands like supporting you says a lot, and it means a lot to us. Like having fans cheering you on, it just like changes the entire energy of the meet. So I think it's like really important.
Do you have any social medias that we could follow you on?
Yeah, I have Instagram. It's just Aviah.Dahlgren.
Okay, and do you guys have like a team Instagram?
Yeah, and then we have a team Instagram. It's Scranton Swim and Dive.
Is that the entire women's and men's program?
Yeah, it's women's
Okay.
and men's.
And just to kind of finish it off here, do you maybe have any last words? It could be for your team, your family, our community here. Just something to leave us off with.
I just think that I'm super excited to watch my team and everybody compete at conferences, and I'm super excited to go and like be a part of this team this year. And you know, thanks to like my teammates this year and my friends and my family that all supports you throughout the whole season.
Okay, well, it's been honestly a pleasure having you here. Congratulations on everything you've achieved here. We love having you as a Royal, and we hope we treat you very well. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And please be sure to see Aviah and the rest of her team compete. Like we said, Landmark Conference Championships coming up February 15th to the 18th. You can look for more details at the Athletic Department's Instagram or the USF Dive Instagram. As always, this has been the Royal Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Taylor, and we'll see you next time.